So, Angel, were you able to, were you able to access the portal and look at the slide deck and the recording? Angel, are you there? Okay, your mic is not working. No issues. Apurv, how about you?
Yes, sir. Sir, I have accessed the portal.
Okay, great. And Janvi, were you able to access the recording?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So let's quickly jump, and I want to take a little bit, few questions from you guys before we start today's session.
Yes.
So, we had talked about multiple things in the last session. Who will tell me what is PyCharm and what does it do? Anybody?
So PyCharm is just like a editor.
It's an editor. That's right. It's a IDE tool. Editor maybe Notepad also. So you will
Yes,
find
yes,
it's an IDE
yes.
that provides what are the capabilities. Who will tell me what are the capabilities PyCharm provides? PyCharm and Visual Studio kind of softwares they provide. What do they provide? Uh, Give me one, like three benefits of using an IDE. Anyone?
Sir, it simplifies code writing.
Okay. What else?
Uh, it also helps in debugging the programs.
Okay. And what do you mean by debugging?
Means we can find out the errors in the code
And solve it. Okay.
and solve
Very
it.
good. Very good. What else? One more. Apur? Something which is not already told? So,
Sir, the flexibility
Ensure
to
when we write some-
sorry. Go ahead, please.
sir, flexibility to write codes easily.
Flexibility to write code easily. Okay, very good. But it gives some suggestions also. Okay. Basically, once you're writing the code, it gives you suggestions, suggestive texts. Okay.
Yes.
You start typing print, for example, print, so it can suggest you and help you complete the code faster. Okay. So there are multiple such benefits. Okay. For using the integrated development environments, and PyCharm and Visual Studio both have few pros and cons, each one of them different features, but mostly these are similar features. Okay. uh, so you can use any one of them. How many of you already have PyCharm or Visual Studio on your systems? Did you
I
try
have a Visual Studio, sir.
Visual Studio? No problem. That's
Yes.
good. So Visual Studio is very popular, and in fact, we'll be using Visual Studio throughout this program. Okay. So it's okay. You can use any one of them, and as I told you, irrespective which editor you are using or which IDE you are using, you can still write code in Python. Okay. Even you can just do, if you are on Linux or you are on Windows or Mac OS, wherever you are, you can write the code in your choice of editor, and then you can execute it with the Python interpreter. Okay. And to download the Python, who will answer me? To download the Python, which website should we go to?
Python.org.
Python.org. Yes, that's right. So python.org you will go to, and there you can go to the download section and download the installer that is suited for your operating system. Okay, wonderful. All right. So last time, last session, we completed multiple things over here. We spoke about Jupyter Notebook. We talked about, getting started with Colab, Google Colab. And I hope all of you have at least gone to colab.google.com. Did you guys visit colab.google.com or colab.research.google.com to create your account? How many of you went there?
So yeah, I already have.
Okay, very good. Apurv, could you? Apurv,
Yes, sir.
were you able to access Google Colab?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. And Angel, Janvi, did you guys do something on Google Colab?
Yes,
Yesterday?
sir.
You did. Okay, excellent. So, all right. So I understand, like, you have the basic understanding of how to get started with Google Colab, how to write few basic lines of code. Today, we are going to see a little bit more advanced, and we will go to the next level. We are going to find out, we will see, how can we will see how can we work on few arithmetical and different type of operators that we have in Python. So first we will learn about some Python syntax. Okay, so let's go there first of all. So we will go to day 2. Okay, let me go to slideshow. I hope this slide is visible. Python basic syntax to you. Very good. So, all right. So let's start our session for the day. So first of all, we must know when we are working with Python, okay, every programming language that we use, it has certain syntax. Syntax means the way of writing things, right? For example, in English, if you are writing, okay, he is a boy, right? So we will have, like, he is there, and then after that we have to write is, then we have to write and then we have to write a boy, right? If we write he boy is the, would it make any sense?
No, sir.
No. So that's what it is. That's the syntax. Syntax is basically few things are defined in a certain manner, and these should be done exactly in the same manner. That's what is known as syntax. So many times when we are writing the program, we find sometimes some issues because we have not done the things as recommended by that language. In our case, we are talking about Python. So in Python, when you are using Python or writing the code for Python, if you don't follow certain guidelines as provided by the Python documentation, okay, the team which built the Python, right, then in that case your program might fail. Okay, if you use something which is not permitted, if you use the variables which are not named correctly, if you use some special characters which are not part of the Python or not permitted in Python, okay, or you are not doing things the way these should be done, in that case you can get certain errors, and errors could be of two types: syntactical and logical errors. We will talk about that more in detail later on. Excuse me. We have so first thing is, in Python we should take care of the syntax. Syntax means certain recommended methods, okay, for writing the code in Python. So first thing Python recommends is indentation. Okay, So in Python, if you're writing certain code and the code is a block. So if you see in this screenshot, in fact, like, so there is some code which is a little to the right, some is starting here. So this is known as when you write some code, you shift it to the right, okay, and you align. So that actually makes a block in Python, something like this, okay. So I will show you. I think it is sharing. Let me share something else. I'll go to my Jupyter notebook. And I hope this is visible to you. And if I'm writing certain code here, right? And if I say, I'll just give an example. We have not studied the, you know, if statement yet, but I'm just giving an example. If 5 is greater than 2, then you see print. We will discuss what exactly we are doing, okay, later on in detail. So what exactly I'm doing here, if 5 is greater than 2, this condition I'm executing, and I'm saying print 5. If it is yes, then do this. If not, then do this. We call them the conditional statements. We will be studying about conditional statements later on, but here just to give you an example of indentation. So what exactly it has done? It is doing here, if this, then do this, else do this, right? If I'm doing something here, okay, if I write print 5 2, okay, this is some message I want to print after print 2, in case the condition is if 5 is less than 2, suppose I'm executing this line, okay. So what is happening? I said if 5 is less than 2, then print 5. 5 is not less than 2, right? So what we are saying here, print 2, okay. Now after 2, it has also printed print 5 2 as well, okay. Why? Because it is one block, okay. If I write, let's say I go back, print, and I want to give a message. I hope you guys are still with me, right? Let me just go here. So in this case, what it is doing, if 5 is greater than 2, then it is doing this printed 5, okay. So it is executing both of these, so it makes a block. So when you indent certain code, when you indent it to the right, then your code is known as indented code. This is called indentation. So Python strictly follows indentation. If I write something here, if I write it this way, then what will happen? If 5 is greater than 2, okay, who will tell me? If I write if 5 is greater than 2 and print 5, will this 5 be printed as well?
Yes, sir.
Okay, anybody else?
Because the condition true है इसमें.
Condition true है, yes. We will come to the conditions. Actually, other people might be not following us. So just for now, I want to tell you that there is something known as indentation. Indentation means you
Yes, sir.
indenting, shifting the
Proper.
code little to the right. So whatever you write over here, that makes one block. Okay. In this case, this will also be printed. Printed 5 will also be printed because, yeah, or I'll say because it is completed. This
It,
block is completed.
it takes 4 spaces.
Yes. So let's say over here, if A equals 78, right? Or I'm saying if equals 5, B equals 3, okay? And if we say A equals 5 plus 3, we are doing what? 15, right? So if C equals 15, right? Then say printed okay. Result computation okay, else print not okay, right? So if I'm going to run this code, what should be the outcome?
Computation okay.
Computation okay, because A is 5, B is 3, C is equal to A into B, and then we are checking if C is equal to 15, then computation okay, and else computation not okay, right? Now what will happen if I write something here? So what will be the outcome in this case?
But both print will computation okay and computation not okay.
Computation okay and computation not okay. Other people, are you understanding it?
और अगर सी भी 15 के इक्वल नहीं हुआ तो इसके और लास्ट में ये भी प्रिंट हो जाएगा आई एम डन, क्योंकि ये इसके अंदर है और इसके बाहर आएगा तो भी प्रिंट करेगा.
If I do this, not okay and okay, right? Now what will be the outcome? If it is 15, C is equal to 15, computation is coming as 15,
Yes, sir.
result is 15. So which block it is going through? This block or this block?
सर if वाला जो ऊपर वाला है,
If
से
block,
पहले वाला.
it is going in the if block. So if
Yes, sir.
computation is okay, then why it is printing this computation not okay? Because it is treating this as one block.
One block, yes, sir.
It computer, and whenever we're writing any program, right, a computer follows your instructions. Computer might do certain computations, but it will take any logical decisions, okay, as per what you want it to do. It does not care computation is okay or not okay. It is just printing whether computation, you have written here computation okay and computation not okay, so it is saying computation not okay, okay. Or even if I remove this, it is printing computation not okay. So this is something as per my logic it is doing, right? So I'm telling it to say computation not okay, right? So computer, sometimes we say, okay, computer will give me the results. Computer will not give you the results unless your logic is right. So there are two things. Now in this case, is this program giving correct results?
Yes.
Is it giving correct results? Ideally, no, because my logic itself is wrong. I'm saying
Yes, printing हमने गलत लिखा है.
if C is equal to 15, okay, somebody will read this outcome, he will say, hey, computer is doing wrong, okay? But computer actually is not doing wrong. Computer is doing what you have told it to do. Okay, computer is following your instructions. I have told if C is equal to 15, then say computation not okay, right? And I'm telling else computation is okay. Make sense? So if I'm doing here, say if it is equal to 14, I'm saying computation is not okay, else computation okay. What will happen in this case? It is going to give the else case if C is equal to 14. 14 तो नहीं है, result क्या है? C नहीं है, 15 है. So it is going here, computation is okay. So it is just following our instructions, and which block of lines this code is going to execute that are indented here. Okay, so this is known as indentation. When you shift the lines of code and you may write one or more lines together, then these are known as a block. Okay, so suppose I write here any number of lines I will write in the same level. This will make a block. So I'm writing 4 times of I am done, and I'm writing computation is not okay. Then it is going to print all these lines if it is okay. Basically, if this condition is true, right? We will take the conditional statements in detail later on. For now, just I wanted to show you how the indentation works. So indentation means now this code, which is at the same level, okay, after if any line of code, this makes one block in Python. Here in other languages, we use something like braces or something, right, in order to define the blocks of code. But here we have just the indentation, and indentation can be at least one character, one space, okay, one character, or you can do more. It's your choice. Normally 4 characters is standard. Usually programmers will use 4 characters indentation. So you can just make that habit, and your editor will follow the same. Okay, so if I do here, it will automatically be indented to 4 places. Correct? So it's your choice how many places you want to indent, but anything you indent to the right, that makes one block, okay, at the same level. Okay, we'll go back to our slide. So over here, next thing is in the syntax comes the variables. Okay, what are the variables? There are 2 types of data. Okay, constant data, or you can call them literals. Okay, we call them constants or literals. You can note it down somewhere. And this is, I can start here. So variables, I told you, like, there are 2 types of things. One is constants and one is the variables. Okay, so constants are something like numbers. So if we go back to our, you know, Colab notebook. So in the Colab notebook, I hope you can see. So we are writing some data over here. We are writing a equals 5, correct? So what exactly we are doing? We are dealing with a number. 5 always will have a value 5. 3 will always have a value 3, right? So what these are? These are the constants or numbers, right? But what I'm doing here is I'm saying a equals 5. Actually, we are doing an assignment, okay? The assignment of the value on the right to the value on the left, okay? And what, where exactly this value is being stored? So in computer, we are saying computer that, okay, allocate a place to store value 5 and call that place A. Okay, what we are saying, take a number, means I want to store the value 5 in the computer's memory somewhere, and that location where this is stored in memory, I want to name it as A. So that location, okay, which is called A, the name of that location is a variable, okay? And why it is a variable? Variable means I can assign any value to that location. I can store 5, I can store 50, I can store 5,000, okay? Depending on what kind of variable is that, okay? So if I say it is A equals 5, and here if I say A equals 15, right? So what will happen? It is going to change entirely. So it will replace 15 is going to be stored in the variable A. Okay. So a variable is a location where you are storing certain data. Okay. And the data can be of any type. There are different types of data items. There are different types of data items. Okay. Now here comes the data types. So in a variable, we are storing the data values. These are dynamically typed, so no need to declare the types. In Python, this is a good thing that you don't have to define the variable type. In other languages like C or Java, okay, you have to specify, right? If you want to store an integer value, you have to specify, oh, it is an integer A, right? If you want to store a floating type value, you have to define it is a floating type value, right? But in case of Python, you simply write a variable, assign it a value, and Python dynamically takes up that this is an integer, this is a float, this is a string, right? So these are different. Over here, you can see these are different data types that you see over here, okay? And some of the data types over here in Python are numbers, which may be integers, floats. Integer means whole numbers, okay? Something like 515, okay, that's a whole number. But if you write 515.5, then that becomes a float, okay? If it is a decimal number, right? If it has a fraction in it, then it is called the float, right? Then we have strings. Strings are the text values. So something like you call something to identify, okay, some person, place, or thing, and it can be anything, literally anything. It can, you can put any data within double quotes. You can put some data in double quotes. You can put data here. For example, I go to this workbook in Jupyter. Okay. So here, if you are having, I'm writing here, I've done this. Now I'm doing same thing in the same variable, A equals Manoj, right? And I say print A. So what it will print? Will it print 5 or will it print Manoj? It will print Manoj, because now, so this is dynamically typed. So dynamically typed will means the same variable might be having, it was having the value 5 here, it was having the value 15 here, and then over able to assign Manoj into the a string. A string is something that you write in single or double quotes. So either I write this or I write a single quotes, I write then academy.
It will automatically fetch at the runtime when we run our
Yeah,
program. Then it will
dynamically.
automatically.
So you don't have to define what type of data item, data element you are
Yes,
storing
sir.
in a variable. So here, that's what is known as dynamically typed. So in Python, variables are dynamically typed. Okay. Is it clear? All right, good. So let's go back to the slide. Okay, then comes the operators. So we have the operators here, arithmetic operators, okay, comparison operators, logical operators. So what are the operators? Operators actually help you to perform some computations. If you have some data elements like I told you integers, you may have float, you may have strings, and usually with the numbers we have to do addition, multiplication, division. Okay, sometimes we have to do the comparison, sometimes we have to do the logical decisioning. Okay, yes no kind of decisions we have to do. Okay, if this is true and that is true and that is not true, something like that, we have to do multiple conditions sometimes we have, so we have to do the logical decisioning over there. So those are called operators. So we have different operators available in Python. Okay, and we will discuss each one of them in detail in next slides. Okay, conditional statements, just now I have shown you. Okay, like if, else if, else, right? We have some conditions sometimes we have to check. Okay, if this, then do this. Okay, if this is not do this, then do this. Okay, so that's what we specify, conditional statements. So if, else if, else, okay, execute code based on the conditions basically, right? So if something is true, okay, then do this. If something is not true, then do this. Okay, right? So and sometimes we say if this is true, then do this. If this another condition is true, then do this, otherwise do the something else. So if, elif, and else we can do together. We will discuss it in detail in next slides. Loops is something known as where we iterate something. If we have to do the same job multiple times, okay, then we use a loop. And how do we do it? Something like, for example, I go back to a Jupyter notebook and we will just quickly have a look what we mean. So something known as, here we have seen if, else over here. Okay, the loop will be something, if I say, let's say I equals 0 and I say while I is less than 5, okay, print I, and I say I equals I plus 1. I want to increase I by 1. So what I'm doing an indentation I'm doing this block. So when I say this command, this code is going to execute only this print I, or it is going to execute print I and I plus 1. While I'm saying a condition, while this condition is true, as long as I remains less than 5, I want to keep executing this code, both these lines of code, because I want to do both of them. That's why I'm doing indentation. If I don't indent this line, then it means only print I has to be repeated. Okay, the block
Yes, sir.
at that level is print I, and I plus 1 will happen only once. So you have to be careful when you're writing the code about the indentation. Any code that you want to execute as one block, that code has to be indented at the same level. Okay, doesn't matter how many spaces you have on the left, but all should be at the same level, right? If I even do an extra space here, that becomes another block. So let's execute this. So what will happen here?
0 1 0 1 2 3 4.
0 1 2 3 4. Why? I said while it is less than 5.
Repetition,
Okay.
execution.
As soon as it was printing 4 here, after printing 4, what it did, I equals I plus 1. So now I becomes 5. So it goes over here and it says if 5 is less than 5, which is not, right?
Condition will fall.
5 is not less than 5, and if it is not less than 5, then what will it do? It will not execute.
Terminate the loop.
This is something like, and I can do it any number of times. I can do it if I say 500, it will run it 500 times. Okay, so yeah, it did it. Okay, it will do up to, you know, less than 500 I said, so it executed it up to 499, right? And if I say something, means we will see more operators in a short while. Okay, so this is something we call, you know, loops. So we have and these are part of the syntax of Python. So in Python, we have seen, we have, first of all, we have talked about indentation. So indentation means anything at same level indented is treated as one block. Second, we spoke about the variables. So like where any names that we define are called the variables. So like A, B, C, D, etc. These are the variables. Angel, you have a question?
Yes, sir. Sir, can you explain the loop function again?
Okay, loop function again. All right. Loops are to repeat something again and again. Okay. So if the same block of code you want to execute multiple times, okay, then we use a loop. And every loop then when we define, we will discuss it in detail in the next session also. So right now we were just talking about the syntax of Python. So here I just wanted to introduce what is loops. So a loop is always executed as long as a certain condition is not met. So we are saying while, so as in this notebook you are not seeing here, so we have given a condition that initially the value of I is 0, and then I'm saying while I is less than 500, okay, then print I and do I equals I plus 1. If I make the condition while I is less than or equal to 500, then this time it is going to print up to 500. You see here, it has printed up to 500. So I have written the line, one line of code here and one line of code. These 2 lines of code I have written, and third line is this and this. So these 4 lines of code are generating so much of the output, right? Making sense? So loop means something we want to repeat. Okay, और इसको हम अभी डिटेल में पढ़ेंगे एंजल. Okay, we will have a separate session on the loops. But for now, just from the construct perspective, I wanted to explain you, okay, what is the syntax of Python. Okay, so I'll go back to the slide. I hope slide is clearly visible to you guys. Cool. So are you clear about the basic Python syntax? So we have, first thing is indentation. Second is variables to store some data. Then third is data types. It could be different types of data, numbers, strings, lists, tuples, dictionaries. Don't worry about all these complicated terms. We will come back to these. Okay. We will discuss each one of them in detail. So right now, just think a list is some list of data. Okay. Tuple is again a set of data, right? So like a few values together. Dictionary is also a way of putting the data together, right? We will discuss in detail what is a dictionary, what is a list, what is a tuple, where to use them, where not to use them. All those things we will be discussing in detail later on. But from construct perspective, these are the data types. Okay. Python basic syntax. Then we have some operators are required in Python in order to do some operations, addition, subtraction, some comparison, some logical decisioning we have to do. And then we have the conditional statements. So something like if else kind of statements we call conditional statements. So if something is true, then do this. If something is not true, then do something else. And then we have loops wherever we want to iterate over the same code. Okay, something we want to keep executing until certain condition is met, then that is called a loop, right? So I hope this is clear. All these constructs are clear to you. Just these should be on your tips, top level. Okay, we will move to the next slide then. So now let's see what are the Python data types. We just saw the Python basic syntax, and then there were the data types. Now next slide talks about the details of various Python data types. Okay, the Python data types are numbers. Okay, so numbers may be integers, that means whole numbers. Okay, something which is not having a fraction in it. And then we have the floating point numbers which have the decimals in it, right? Something 5.5, 7.8, right? 7.888, something, any number of digits can be there in fraction also. So you can write whole numbers and floating point numbers. Clear? Strings, something a textual data. It can be your name, it can be a book's name, it can be name of a city, it can be a place, person, or thing, right? Or it could be a very large text of data, right? Maybe a paragraph of data. Everything is a string, right? So something that you enclose in single or double quotes. Okay, something that you enclose in a single or a double quote, that is called a string. Single quote, something that you when you press double quote, you need to press shift and then double quote you get. Okay, if you press it without shift key, then you get the single quote, right? So you can write a string with a single or double quote. Then comes the Boolean values. Booleans are true or false values. Okay, so sometimes I'm asking you, hey, is apple red? Is apple red? So you are saying yes. Or maybe if it is green, you will say no, right? So some questions are answered in yes or no, or you can say true or false. So in Python, to represent such values, we have Booleans. Okay, if somewhere I have to write, let's say, if a candidate has passed in the examination, then if a candidate has passed, I will say pass equals true, right? So pass can be a variable, and I'm saying the candidate is pass, then you can say true. Or if failed, true or false, whatever the value is there, you can assign, right? Lists are basically ordered collection of items. Okay, and here there is one term known as mutable. Mutable means changeable. Something if you can modify, something if you can change, something. List is basically a collection of items, you can say. So we can have, let's say I'm having a list of fruits. List of fruits may be apple, orange, banana. Okay, these are different fruits. So if I'm storing a collection of items together, we call it a list. It can be a list of integers, it can be a list of floats, it can be a list of fruits, it can be a list of students, it can be anything. Okay, wherever you have an ordered collection of items, that is called a list, right? And tuples is also an ordered collection of items, but that is immutable. This is the difference. So
It's
lists are
okay.
mutable or changeable, while tuples are immutable or unchangeable. Both are list of items. Okay, but one is mutable, one is immutable. So which one is mutable? Which
Lists.
ordered collection of items is mutable?
Lists.
Lists, right? Okay, and which one is immutable? Tuple.
Tuple.
Okay, the difference between lists and tuples is, in order to create a list, you will be putting the elements in square brackets, and for tuples you will use parentheses. Okay,
Yes.
is it clear? Then comes the dictionaries. Dictionaries are unordered. So remember here, these are ordered. Okay, you are putting them in a certain order, right? And these are unordered collection of key value pairs. What is a key value pair? Would apart from Prachi, anybody would like to explain me what is a key value pair? Apurv, Angel? Angel, please tell me if you can speak.
No idea, sir.
No idea. Okay. So, Prachi,
Sir,
you want to explain?
sir, key value like if we are taking name, we have create a list. So like first topic that is name. So that's a key, and a value like any name like Prachi, Bhavna,
Mhm.
and so on. And the
Correct.
second one
So,
class,
Mhm. Correct.
like BCA, MCA. So these are keys like name, subjects, and the values, their names, and subject names.
Absolutely. So, well answered. So, what exactly key value pair is? So, you always have a key like a book. Book is a
Yes, sir.
key, and then book name. And you say the name of the book is, so I'm saying book title, maybe the key, and the name of the book may be Python for Beginners, right? Course
Yes.
name may be the key, and course may be Python for Beginners, right? Student may be the key student name, and that may be Prachi Single, right? Or
Yes.
Apurva, right? So these could be different key value pairs. Same way, if I'm talking about marks in Hindi, okay, that is a key, and marks in Hindi may be whatever. You have the value. So we have a key value pair. So some such data which may not to be the similar data. Okay, it can be any data, and then if you are combining this data together and putting in a structure, we call it a dictionary. Okay.
Yes. Sir, I have a doubt too. Sir, a dictionary is a mutable data type, na?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Sir, actually, when I study Python notes, then dictionaries, matlab many more, uh, yes, sir. Ki dictionary is an unordered collections, matlab unordered. So I get confused. Ki it's a mutable or immutable, matlab.
Yeah, dictionary is immutable.
Okay, sir.
Okay. All right. So let's move to the next slide. So variables we already spoke about. So variables are containers for storing the data value. Okay. So some value you want to store in the memory of the computer, that so that you can utilize it later on. So we will be creating a variable for that. In Python, variables are created when you assign a value to them. Okay. So you don't have to declare somewhere like, oh, this is a variable, right? Just A or B or C. Unless you assign a value, that variable is not allocated. Okay. Variables are dynamically typed, means you don't need to declare the type beforehand. Variable names must start with a letter, means A, B, C, D, E, something like that, a letter or underscore, right? And can only contain letters, numbers, and underscores. So if you are trying to put a hyphen in between, that will be invalid. If you are trying to put a slash in between, that will be invalid. If you're trying to put a space in between, that is invalid. Only letters, numbers, and underscores are permitted in a variable name. And variable names are case sensitive. So if you're writing something, a small case A and a capital case A, these are different values, right? So don't expect you will get the same results if you are using lowercase a or uppercase A. These are two different variables, okay, in themselves. So case sensitive means you cannot interchangeably use myvar and myvar.
Yes.
Okay, so these two are different. That's what it is trying to say. All right, is it clear? Any question on
Yes.
this? Anybody? All good? Then we come to keywords. So when we are defining the in every language, certain keywords are there. Some keywords are more like reserved words. So you cannot use these words as a variable. Simple, right? So keywords are reserved words with special meaning in Python. They are used to define the syntax and structure of the language. Examples include, अभी हम लोगों ने देखा था, if, else, for, while, def, class, and import. These kind of words are there. Okay, we will see the complete list on the next slide. Okay, so these are some examples of the keywords. So you cannot have a variable called if, you cannot have a variable called else, you cannot have a variable called for. Okay, so these words have their predefined purpose and should be used only for that purpose, not for defining variables or any other elements like function names or something. Okay, using keywords as variable names will result in error, and understanding keywords is essential for writing valid Python code. If you try to use a keyword as a variable and then you say, oh, my code is not working, it will not work because Python doesn't permit that. And here is the complete list of these 35 keywords you can memorize, in fact. Okay, false, none, true, and, as, assert, async, await, break, class, continue, def, del, elif, else, accept, finally, for, from, global, if, import, in, is, lambda, non-local, not, or, pass, raise, return, try, while, with, yield. Okay, don't have to actually memorize them, but just this is a list of 35, so you can easily over the period of time as you work with Python, you can memorize this list so that you are not accidentally using these words as a variable. Okay, you can always come back to the Python keyword list and as a reference. And in Python, there is a way to generate the list of keywords. I will show you later on how can we achieve that. Then there are some basic Python commands. So prints the specified message to the screen. We have seen it many times. Whatever we want to print, it will be able to print something written in parentheses. So actually, wherever you see these parentheses, this means this is a function. What it is? It's a function. We will come to functions later. A function is basically something we want to do, some operation we want to do, some computation we want to do, some thing we want to print, something we want to take input, right? So it performs one particular task. Okay, a function performs a particular task. So print does the task of taking the value you have given and showing it on the screen. Input means takes the input from the user and assigns it to certain location, basically wherever you want to, right? Length checks the length of any object. Okay, so if you are having, I'll quickly show you. Length, we can have type. Type returns the type of an object. Okay, whether it is integer, it is float, or something else. And help invokes the built-in help system. Okay, so I'll show you how it does. I'm going to show you I'm going to take you to another window. Is my screen visible to you?
Yes, sir.
So here I'm going to start Python. Okay, this is known as Python console. So on my system, I already have gone to python.org/downloads, and from there I downloaded the installer for Python, executed it, and I have Python running on my system. In order to verify if Python is there or not, you can always do Python space -- version, and it will tell you if Python is there. If it is not there on your system, you will get Python is not a recognized command, something like that. Okay, some error will be coming to you. If Python space -- version, if this command you can execute, it means Python exists, and on my system currently Python 3.11.7 is there. Do you guys have Python or not? Would you like to try and give me the answer? I'm going to launch a poll. Tell me if you have Python on your system. Verify it.
सर मेरा ना थोड़ा सा इसमें इशू है, मतलब मेरा यहाँ से रन नहीं होता, मेरा ये टॉप राइट से ही मेरा होता है, जहाँ पे ये प्रीव्यू वाला बटन होता है ना, वहां से मेरा रन होता है प्रोग्राम। मेरा यहाँ से कमांड देने पर रन नहीं होता सर प्रोग्राम।
कमांड लाइन से नहीं होता है,
पता नहीं क्या इशू हुआ है अभी थोड़े
You
टाइम
must come to the doubt class on Sunday, and there we will save it. Look at it.
से।
Please answer this poll. Do you have Python available on your system? Verify using Python -- version and respond.
Oh.
I got only one vote so far. Others say yes or no, that's fine. Doesn't have to be necessarily yes. Check it. Go to command line. Do you know how to go to command line? In your system, go to start menu if you're on Windows. Start,
CMD.
yeah, run CMD, enter. Or you can press window key and R together and type CMD and enter. All right. Few more people left to vote. So everyone is pretty much having Python. That's good. So means you can practice the same thing either now or later on after the session. So I'm just doing these steps. So Python version, which version you are having, note it down. Means just for your reference, you must know. Okay. Then if Python space dash dash version is there, you can simply type Python and press enter. You will come to this shell, Python shell. Okay. And here, there I was using Jupyter Notebook, but Jupyter is on the cloud, on Colab environment we were working, right? So this is something which is running on my local system. So here, if I say A equals whatever, 89, B equals 90. So now what happened? If I print A, will it print? Yes, it memorizes this. If I say print B, will it print? Yes, it memorizes that. If I say print A plus B, will it print? Yes, it does computation. If I say print A minus B, does it print? It does. It gives me -1, right? If I say print A into B, oh, I made a syntax error. Now here you are, I forgot to type B here. So you can do just an up arrow and type A into B is coming, right? So on the command line in this shell, you can do whatever you want. Okay. You can write your, this is because interpreted language, I told you in the previous session, Python is an interpreted language and it is interpreted. That means I don't have to really write the complete program and then compile it and execute it. No, nothing is needed. Just go to the shell. You want to do certain calculation, any Python functionality you want to execute, you can do on the shell. Write that command, it is immediately executed and its result is shown to you. Okay. So if I'm saying here, okay, print. Now let's see the strings. So how the strings work in double quotes, hello world. Usually hello world is known as the first program in any language. So we usually write something like this, print hello world, right? So this is a string and I can also write it in single quotes. That will also work. And if you, this is only for single lines, but if you have to write something in multiple lines, welcome to the world of Python programming. Okay, 1, 2, 3, close it. So now I am writing 2 different lines of code. Okay, so you can do it in triple quotes, or you can also write it with this something like this, print I'm finding, right? Sorry, I have to write triple quotes. Sorry, I'm finding Python interesting. And this even interesting can go to the next line too. Okay, here I can do. Okay, close it. I'm finding Python interesting. So you can write multiple lines of code too. Okay. if you have to print something like a longer message or paragraph kind of thing, you can do that. Is it clear? Excellent. So I was showing you something, right? Let's go to our next slide. We have few minutes left. I would like to cover up the remaining things. Some of these things, like, let me show you how the input is taken before we go to the next slide. Okay. So I'm saying input. Okay. Enter name, for example. And maybe I want to assign it to my name. Right? I'm saying and now what happens if I want to say what is in print my name. So Zen Academy that I entered here, that is stored in my name variable. Okay. And now I can do some operations on strings also. So I can say print my name. So what should be the output? I'm loving Zen Academy. Right? So what I did a operation. Now you will say how it is possible, like plus operation. Now you see the behavior of plus. If I'm doing a plus b, it is computing. It is dynamically checking what type of values plus is applying on plus operator. So if it is numbers, it is doing the sum, multiplication or subtraction. If it is strings, it is doing the concatenation of the strings. Concatenation we call it. When we call it concatenation. Okay. So concatenation means you are joining two strings together. Okay. So I'm loving Zen Academy. This is the outcome of two strings. One, this constant string value I am loving, and the other one which is stored in this variable, which is also of the string type. And if you try to do print, let's see, print a equals plus and the value of a, what will happen? Will it work? No, it does not work. What I'm getting an error, a type error. It says there is a string within double quotes and there is a number here. It's an integer. So it will not work. So if you need to do it, print value of a as a equals the value of a, either you do a equals comma, means you are having two values here, one value of this string and one value of this a, you put it and a equals 89. Okay, I want to print here the value of my name and the value of my name. So my name equals Zen Academy, right? You want to print b equals the value of b. And the same thing you can also write this way. You can, if you want to do the plus, so because it is a string, the first one is a string, so you can do a typecasting. We call it typecasting. So you are saying type, that was a number is integer, right? So there is a function str. Using this, I can typecast it. So what I'm saying is convert this integer into a string. Now two strings can be concatenated. So it is giving me the results. Any doubts on any of these operations that we just performed? Hello?
Sir, can you please show the len keyword once? How to use it?
Sure, I will show you. Are these clear? The ones that we have shown?
Yes, sir.
These are clear. Very good. So let's see the print. So what is the length? So let me say, I'll say name length, okay, is equal to length of my name. What is the value in my name? Zen Academy. I want to see the length of Zen Academy. How many characters are there? And I want to assign that into name length, right? So this is a length function, okay? And now I want to, let's say, print name length. What is that? 11 characters. Why 11 characters? 1, 2, 3. A space is also there, right? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Total 11 characters are there. Is it clear?
Sir, can you repeat last second? B equals to plus string of B.
B equals string of B. So
Yes, sir.
what was happening if I was trying to do simple print? If I'm doing print B equals, this is a string, and I'm trying to do B. B was an integer, right? We stored
Yes, sir.
integer value in this. So now it finds
Yes,
a
sir.
string and an integer. It is
Yes.
trying to concatenate them because now it is confused. So it is a string. Second one is an
Okay.
integer, right? Now
Yes, sir.
it is dynamically typed, so it understands B has an integer and this has a string. Now string plus integer join cannot happen. Okay.
Yes, sir.
A string to string join can happen. Integer plus integer can happen. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So here, if I'm pressing, I'm getting an error, right?
Okay, okay, okay.
So in order to fix this error, what I have to do, I have to make this integer as a string.
You by use string function.
String of B. So I'm getting,
Okay.
now I'm getting the correct results. Now I have solved the problem of Python. So Python was not able to join integer and string. So I converted the integer to a string, and now two strings can be joined together. Okay.
Yes.
We call it typecasting, just like we did over here. But this is actually a function, right?
Yes.
Is a str is a function. You are converting an integer value to a string. All right.
Yes.
And one is type. So let's say I say print type of my name. What is my name? My name is a variable, right? And I want to print the type of my name is a string. It's a string class, str. Okay. If I want to print the type of B, oh, type of B is integer, and that's why our code here was not executing, because I was trying to concatenate a string with an integer, right? So if in your code somewhere you need to identify the type of a particular variable, then you can use the type function. Okay. If I say print type of 5.6789. Sorry, I did this.
Excuse me,
I have to
sir.
do the type. Yes, please.
Sir, I was trying the code to write in 2 lines, but it is giving in only 1 line.
You are trying to write the code in 2 lines. Did you use triple quotes?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Would you like to share your screen?
Okay, sir.
Hold on, show me. Are you able to share your screen?
No, sir.
Hold on, let me permit you. Then you will be. Okay, go ahead, please. Angel, try to share now.
Yes, sir. Sir, is my screen visible?
Not yet. Did you share the entire screen? Do the entire screen.
Sir, actually it is showing error.
In sharing,
Yes, sir.
what error it is showing?
It is saying sorry, an error occurred while screen sharing.
Okay, stop it and then try again.
No, sir. It's not.
Not was possible. Okay, Prachi, you were also having some issue. What exactly it was there? Basically, if you can show me.
Sir, screen sharing में issue.
No, you were also having some problem, right, on the system, you were telling in Python.
सर एक्चुअली सिस्टम में कोई इशू नहीं है लेकिन टर्मिनल एट द टाइम ऑफ टर्मिनल
Mm-hmm.
आई विल ट्राई इफ एनी इशू आई विल लेट यू नो सर
No problem, we will discuss that later then.
यस सर
Apurva, are you able to execute the code?
आज एक्चुअली सर लैपटॉप में थोड़ा वाईफाई इशू है इसलिए मैंने आज फोन से ही कनेक्ट किया हुआ है
No issue.
नेक्स्ट स्टेप में लैपटॉप से कनेक्ट करूं
So Prachi, sorry, Angel, आप कह रहे हैं कि आप प्रिंट कर रहे हो विद इन पैरेंथेसिस, आपने 3 टाइम्स यहाँ पर कोट्स दिए हैं, ठीक है, और आपने सपोज लिखा है कि एंजल इज फेसिंग इशू इन मल्टी लाइन code 1 2 3 parenthesis closed. This is how it should be working ideally. आपको क्या रिजल्ट आ रहा है?
एक ही लाइन में आ रहा है पूरा प्रिंट होकर.
नहीं होना, दोबारा ट्राई कीजिएगा, ठीक है, हो जाएगा, कोई इश्यू नहीं होना चाहिए. कुछ गड़बड़ कर रहे हो आप, ठीक है, वो चेक कर लेना एक बार, फिर दिखाना, स्क्रीन शेयर करके दिखाना मुझे, या फिर स्क्रीनशॉट आप ले सकते हो, स्क्रीनशॉट लेके आप भेज सकते हो, ठीक है,
ओके सर.
ग्रुप में भी भेज सकते हो आप, जो व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप है उसमें शेयर कर सकते हो. We will try to address that. Okay. All right. For now, we'll just extend the session for 10 more minutes because we started a bit late, and try to complete the remaining part. So I think these functions are pretty much clear. Help is something like you write any function help, and within parentheses you can write the
यस सर
like help on print or help on type or help on length, how to use it. You can get more detailed documentation about it, and you can press Q to come out of the help. Okay, these examples we have just seen, right? Some of them. This is a list basically. In the square brackets, what we are doing, this is a list of numbers. Okay, you can have list of names also. Okay, list of fruits, list of means in strings you can have floating point numbers here, you can have integers, right? And then it is here, it is checking the number. So I can show you this. So if we go, so we were about a list, let's say define. So we will say numbers. So I'm saying numbers equals 1 2 3 4 5 6, whatever I have, right? So this is my list of numbers, and then I can say print numbers. If I do, it's a list basically. So in order to access it, there is a way of accessing it. So it's an ordered list. It's a number, actually, not numbers. Sorry. So number 0 is 1. If I say number, here in the list, indexing happens and the first element starts with 0. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's how the positioning of these list elements are considered, counted. So you can say, if I'm saying list 4, number 4, so number 4 is 5. So 0, why you will say why? It's the fifth number, but because it's starting from 0, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So what will be this element? It is the fifth element. So if I say print fifth element, then it is 6. And if I try to do print sixth element, it does not have. Index is out of range. Total list size itself is how much? It is 6 elements. And I'm trying to access the 7th element, okay, which is not possible. So it is giving an error in this case. And then we were just trying to see what is the length of this. So print length of number list, and that is 6. And if I say print type of number, that is class, it's a list class, it's a list type, okay. So you are able to get this. So let's switch back. Most of the things we have already covered. So let's go to Python operators. I think we have already seen these operators. I'll just give you a brief understanding of this. So arithmetic operators are plus, minus, asterisk. Asterisk is for multiplication, right? So we have these 5 types of operators. First of all, Python operators, we have 5 types of operators: arithmetic operators, comparison operators, assignment operators, logical operators, and bitwise operators. Okay, and what these are, we will look into the next slides. So arithmetic operations are like addition. If you want to do the plus, so x plus y, easy, right? Subtraction, subtracts one value from another, so x minus y. Multiply, if you want to do, you will use asterisk for multiplication. Division, if you want to divide a value, so you will say x upon y, so means you are doing the division of x by y. Floor division. Floor division means you are doing, let's say, 5 upon 2. Okay, what is the answer? 5 upon 2. If you do 5/2, you will get 2.5. But if you do 5/2, you will get only 2, because it will give you the floor. It will not, it will leave the fraction. Okay, so that is called floor division. So if I'm doing 10 upon 3, okay, 10/3, what will the output? 3. Okay. Modulo means remainder, right? So if you have to compute the remainder in a division, then you can use this modulo operator or percent sign. So x percent y if you write, and if you say 10% 3, answer should be 1, right? Because 1 is the remainder. If you do 15 remainder 4, outcome will be 3, right? And these things you can try on your Python interface, okay, Python shell. Exponent, if you want to do a to the power b, right, then in that case use double asterisk in between. That is the exponential operation. Then we have the Python comparative operators. Comparative operators are double equal sign. If you want to compare if 2 values are equal, not a single equal. Single equal is used for assignment. Double equal is used for comparison. Okay. Not equal, you will use an exclamation mark, and equal without any space, that is known as not equal. If you use the greater than or less than sign, these are self-explanatory. Greater than or equal to, okay, either greater or equal, then you will use this sign. If it is less than or equal, you will use this sign. I hope these are pretty self-explanatory. Anyone has any questions on comparative operators? Shall we move ahead? Okay, good. So let's see the next one. Then we have the Python assignment operators. Assignment, we just saw one assignment, x equals 5, right? So like this. So one value we are assigning into x. Now what are these other operators? These means I want to do x equals x plus 3. Plus equal will mean x equals x plus 3. Add 3 to x and then assign back to x. Subtract 2 from x and assign back to x. Multiply 4 into x, assign back to x. Divide x by 2 and assign back to x. Perform floor division of x with 3, assign back to x. Get a remainder, and what are the remainder is assign back to x. So that's what these assignment operators are. So the assignment is not just equal. There are every operator pretty much you have there, arithmetic operator. These can be used in order to create the assignment operators. I hope that is clear. Then we have the logical operators. We have 3 logical operators: and, or, and not. Okay. And means if there are 2 conditions and we say when both the conditions are true, then the resultant will be true. Okay. But or means if any of the condition, if 2 conditions are there, 2 logical conditions are there, and if any of the logical conditions is true, then I will consider it as true. Means if one is true, one is false, then answer will be true, right? And if both are false, then answer will be false. Not means invert. If a condition is true, but I want to treat it as not, I say I will do something if this is not true, right? Then we use the not operator, and which is the exclamation mark. Here we use bitwise operators. Bitwise operators usually work. Normally you do and, or, not. These are the whole numbers, right? On the complete number. But you know every number is internally written as bits. Okay. 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1. Okay. We will discuss this in detail in next class. Okay. But bitwise operators means if you have a number written as, let me say, if you have 1, so it is written as 00001, for example, right? And you have another number which is 2, or 2 in binary is written as 10, right? So when you are doing the bitwise operations, so actual operation happens on the bits. Okay. This I will leave you for today's assignment. Experiment with some bitwise operators and we will discuss it in the next class. Okay. I'm just leaving it for you to study. DAC will be available to you. Go there, study it, and come back to me. And next session, we will discuss it in more detail. So whatever we have written, these we can put them together in multiple lines of code. So far, we were writing in the shell. So if all those commands in the shell that we have written, if we write in a single file and we call it a .py file, .py extension, we give to the file name like hello.py or whatever the file name .py, right? And we execute it with the Python command, we will be able to get the same results that we are getting on the shell, but this will be faster because everything is written in one shot. It does all the computation and gives me the final result. Okay. And one more thing is Python comments. So if something you don't want to be executed in the code that you're writing, then you can simply precede it with a hash sign. Okay. So this hash sign is going to make that code non-executable. So your rest of the code will execute, but wherever it finds a hash sign in the beginning, it will not execute that. And another way of writing it is you can do multi-line comments. I just told you multi-line strings you can write. So if you put just like within multi-line comments without a print function, then that itself works like a comment. Okay, so you can do multi-line comments in triple quotes, single quotes, or triple double quotes, and that will act as a comment. So comments are usually ignored by the Python, and these make your code self-explanatory. So somebody is reading your code, they will be able to easily understand what exactly that code is all about. Okay, and commenting is always considered a good coding practice. This is one program that I would leave for you to do. It is explaining the logic how to compute the Fahrenheit temperature into Celsius. So this is the formula: C equals F minus 32 into 5/9. So you will get the Fahrenheit temperature from user using the input function. We just saw how to take the input, convert Fahrenheit input to float for calculation, calculate Celsius using the above formula, and then print the result. So this is your exercise for the day. Okay, so that's it for today. I hope you will be able to execute this code, right? Does anybody have any question on this? Fahrenheit to Celsius conversion? Prachi, Angel?
No, sir.
No. Okay, so just do this code and we will discuss more about it. We'll review it in the next session. All right, today's deck and recording will be available to you.
Sir, can you open the terminal CMD once?
I can. Sure, I will do. Yes, please.
So you print the last line, a type of number, and it will give the output in
List.
quotes, list, and type class.
Yes.
सो सर एक इंटरव्यू में मेरे से क्वेश्चन पूछा था कि ये जो आउटपुट आया है मतलब ये क्लास में इसके लिए कैसे मतलब अगर हम आता है तो हम कैसे एक्सप्लेन इसको करेंगे मतलब.
Okay, so it is a class. Basically, every data type, how it is defined. Ultimately, this is defined as a class. Means
Okay.
any one type of objects, okay,
Okay.
that belong to same category or same class, same group, right? We call it a class. So ideally, all the list is a class. Okay, so
Okay.
it in C, it's a data structure basically, right? So
Okay.
every list has certain elements, some data in it, and it allows some operations. So if you learn C, it is coming from C actually, class. Okay,
Yes.
this is Python is written in C. And
Yes, sir.
class. Okay, so everything, all the data types are defined as class.
Oh,
That's why you are getting
Okay.
here class list. Okay,
okay. Sir.
is it clear? So
Yes, sir.
we can create our own classes, means our own data types. As I told you, Python is extensible, so you can
Yes.
extend it by writing your own classes and your own code. So here, list class means class list means list itself is a class. Okay,
Okay.
yeah,
Thank you, sir.
you're welcome. Any other question?
No, sir.
All right, so we will connect this Friday and discuss more about it. I would request you to go back to the slides, okay,
Yes, sir.
and definitely do this program for Fahrenheit conversion. Create a
Yes.
file, create a file in Notepad, okay.
Okay.
Write the code, save the file with your name or whatever name, okay.
Yes.
.py, py,
Yes, sir.
command line. Okay, you don't even have to run Python, just say here you can just do exit. बाहर आने के लिए आप करेंगे exit function parenthesis enter. So if you are creating a file here, and if I write any code here, let's say a equals 9, b equals 8, c equals a multiply by b, and I say print c equals c, right? I go out. So now I have a file here, hello.py. And if I just say Python hello.py, then I'm going to get c equals 72. So all the commands which are written in this hello.py file are executed. This is the program that I written. So in just a single shot, I can do Python hello.py. And same way you have to do the temperature.py, a file you have to create. In that, you have to follow the steps given in the slide deck and create a program for Celsius, Fahrenheit to Celsius temperature conversion. You will input the temperature in Fahrenheit and you will output the result in Celsius. Okay. So you will prepare the program same way. Clear? All right, so we will end the session. Thanks for being till the end of the session, and we will connect this Friday.
Thank you, sir.
Feel free to ask questions in the
Thank you,
group. If you're doing some,
Thank you, sir.
you're welcome. If you are doing any experiments and you get stuck somewhere, feel free to ask in the group and try to help each other. Okay, and
Yes, sir.
someone will also help you. Okay, in the academic group. All right. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.